Hello and welcome to the Screencast. In this video we will review how the midline, amplitude, and period of circular functions are related to the circles used to create them. Then we will specifically identify the midline, amplitude, period, domain, and range of the sine and cosine functions. In our previous study of circular functions, we saw how tracking the height of a point traversing a circle generated a periodic function. We defined the midline y equals m to be the horizontal line for which half the curve lies above the line and half the curve lies below the line, and that the midline corresponds to the y-coordinate of the center of the circle. In addition, we defined the amplitude of a circular function to be the maximum deviation of the curve from the midline, and that the amplitude corresponds to the radius of the circle that generates the curve. Lastly, we informally defined the period of a circular function to be the length of one full cycle, and that the period corresponds to the circumference of the circle that generates the curve. Because the sine function results from tracking the y-coordinate of a point traversing the unit circle and the cosine function from the x-coordinate, the two functions have several shared properties of circular functions. Considering that both of these functions are generated by traversing the unit circle, which is centered at the origin and has a radius of 1, we can conclude that the sine and cosine functions have the following properties. The midline is y equals 0, the amplitude is 1, and the period is 2 pi. Furthermore, because we can traverse the unit circle in either direction, and for as long as we wish, the domain of the sine and cosine functions is all real numbers. From our observations of the midline at y equals 0 and an amplitude of 1, it follows that the range of the sine and cosine functions is all outputs between -1 and 1 inclusive. It is important to understand these properties of the parent sine and cosine functions, because in our future studies, we will explore how the midline, amplitude, period, and range are affected by transformations of these parent functions.